You remember Billionaire Ted.
Yes.
Vince uses a character, an actor, in a segment with the Nacho Man and the Huckster. His name is Billionaire Ted. And he uses this segment. It's a series of segments that lead up to WrestleMania to call out steroid problems in WCW, as well as make fun of older performers, because WCW are utilizing Hogan and Flair and Savage, who were all in WWF just a few years prior. And I understand sort of you're mocking the other guys. You're like, we used to have these guys. We sent them away because they're too old. But at the same time, you're giving these guys free advertising on your television. I found that fascinating in the look back.
Yeah, and the same mistake was made with Gilbert.
Yeah.
People were, if they never knew who Goldberg was, or why are they making fun of who they making fun of here, and they find out who it is.
Yeah.
They turn on that guy and he's destroying people on that show and looks badass doing it. They're like, this guy's badass,
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It was free advertising. I remember back then I did not like this at all. I thought it was like rude,
Yeah, making fun of our guys, man.
Yeah, making fun of, I enjoyed both promotions, and I thought, like, why would they waste their time with this? And yeah, it was free advertising, and it helped the Nitro brand. I also think, like, I don't know, Vince loved to show Eric to how much smaller than he was to him, right? So it's not Eric Kendall skits, it's Billionaire Ted skits. So there's no mention, I don't think, in those skits of an Eric Bischoff.
Not at all.
He's non-existent. The real power who he's fighting is Ted Turner, and that was done to just piss off Eric Bischoff even more.
You're not even on my level.
And at the same time, and I know you went to the Observers, I think Vince made a mistake, not just pissing off Eric Bischoff with these, but then you see Ted Turner would get pissed off more, right? So I can see, so why would you want Ted to, I don't know, keep opening that pocketbook a little bit more?
Yeah, Ted's kind of like asleep at this point. He's like, yeah, you do WCW Nitro. I have so many other things going on, and you could just leave this dude alone, and you just got to deal with Eric Bischoff. We'll get to some of that. Okay, Dave writes, Titan Sports. I love it when WWE is referred to as Titan Sports. Titan Sports' ultimate strategy, which began with the Billionaire Ted skits on the first of the year, apparently came fully to light this past week. The object appears to make a huge effort to bring out publicly both the millions of dollars in losses suffered by WCW since its purchase by TBS in 1988, and behind the scenes complain to the FTC about alleged predatory business practices about WCW and the TBS organization in competition, and throw in drug allegations to muddy the waters as well. The idea appears to be, as publicly as possible, to paint a negative picture of both the financial situation of WCW, its business practices, and bringing up a possible drug problem to somehow cause the tiny organization in the Turner Empire to be examined by Time Warner, which was just the merger that had happened a few months back, that is expected to take place between the two organizations. Okay, so that is, at least in this case, it is, they are playing dirty, but it is in front of the television. They're being very apparent about what they're doing. So at least there is that. They're not going behind the scenes. They're not calling advertisers. They're not like, doing that kind of thing. But still, at the same time, this is just, how many years prior was Vince kind of just like on the high horse, and WCW is just not even a problem, just in their rear view, right? And now they're competing Monday night, and this is WWE's go-to plan here.
Yeah. WWE's go-to plan?
I'm sorry, WWE's go-to plan to compete or to undercut or to low blow or whatever, just dirty wrestling war business.
It's funny to me because I don't think Ted Turner or Time Warner, whatever merger, I think it's just to them, it's just, oh, there's a wrestling company part of this. It's another brand they acquired. So I don't think this would really get their attention. I think it's just really I think it's just a shot at Eric, and ultimately it just helped WCW brand. I think it failed him, honestly. Because didn't they kind of slow up on because it went to WrestleMania and that was it. The WrestleMania was the end. I think they do anything on screen or some big skit. It was a big skit at WrestleMania, right?
I want to say, was it the dark match? Was the Nacho Man versus the Huckster the dark match that year? I don't remember.
That they had a real match out there.
Because there were worries that they couldn't use those likenesses on TV, but I think they sort of figured out that it was okay. They just couldn't. There's something like they couldn't use it on broadcast TV, or there was something like that. Like you couldn't actually physically make the public believe that was those guys in an actual match or something like that.
Got it. So that's why it was a dark match. Gosh, is there footage of that? I never seen footage of that.
I don't know. Man, I'm gonna look it up as we're talking here. WrestleMania 12.
So I don't know if I want to see that.
So Bischoff, on his end, his part of the war here, right? His part of the war is when Raw is taped, he is giving the spoilers out.
Yeah.
And so that's his dirty play, right? He's like, oh, you don't need to watch Raw or the other program. He wouldn't say Raw. You don't need to watch the other program. The big guy gets super kicked and match is over. Like that's how he's kind of giving out the spoilers. And he's like, stick around here. I'll tell you what's going on the other company. So that's how Bischoff is playing dirty. So Dave writes again. This is when WCW actually beat WWF Raw at this point by pretty nice margin. Dave writes, the rating came 8 days after WCW had its biggest victory to date in the Monday Night Wars, topping WWF by a 3.5 rating and 5 share to WWF's 2.4 and 3.5 share. The margin of victory, the largest to date by either side, prompted Eric Bischoff to call Vince McMahon, who didn't take the call, and leave a message with the secretary telling McMahon to continue whatever it is he's doing with the Billionaire Ted skits. Calling Vince, would that be in your battle plan? Do you want to wake up the sleeping giant anymore?
I think he's already woken up, but yeah, he just kind of pushed him over the edge a little more and got the competitive spirit out. And yeah, I think Vince was already looking to try to topple WCW, but yeah, that gave him a little extra push for sure. Probably wouldn't have Bischoff. I mean, they should all just ignore each other, but it wasn't. Then again, it would be for our benefit because it was wild.
So the match that we're talking about, the Huckster and the Nacho Man, on the pay-per-view, it was the second bout, which aired on the free-for-all broadcast. It was billed as the geriatric match. The referee for the match was Billionaire Ted. This bout marked the culmination of a series of skits the WWF had aired featuring the 3 characters. This match did not take place in the Arrowhead Pond, having been pre-recorded elsewhere. The match ended in a no contest with both competitors, along with Billionaire Ted, seemingly expired in the ring. There you go. I bet you it's got to be on YouTube.
You know what? I think I did see that then. But it was like what am I watching here? Kind of reaction.
All right. So what does Vince do? You know, I said, this dude, you're kind of messing with this dude. I don't know if this is the dude you want to mess with. Vince attempts to purchase ad space in the New York Times and Wall Street Journal. And the ad he's trying to purchase features a photo of Ted Turner in large bold print saying, "Attention stockholders, has Ted Turner lost $40 million of your money in his personal vendetta against the World Wrestling Federation? What are these losses reported in TBS's financial statements?" Both papers turned down the ad, although a modified version of the ad was later accepted by the Times and was expected to run in the financial section. Can you imagine? This is why I say Tony Khan is sort of lucky in a sense that WWE is kind of the public company that they are, and Vince is old. He doesn't really have it in him to go dirty like he was. But man, this is some dirty tactics.
Well, Vince is preoccupied with other dirty stuff, during this war.
Exactly.
But and I think Triple H's strategy is just do his thing, put quality product, throw him big money out for free agents when they come available on his end, and that's how he's gonna play it. But yeah, I know. Imagine if Tony Khan had this Vince McMahon, who was like, what? How old Vince here? 50, maybe?
Yeah, probably around there. Maybe even a little bit younger.
Entertaining, but yeah.
Vince and Rick are how close in age are Vince and Rick? Because if Rick is 70, is Rick 74?
74. He just turned 74. He had a birthday.
So Vince is probably a couple years older than him. Yeah, so Vince is probably right around 50 or close to it.
He just had a birthday party. Hulk Hogan was there. And some guy sitting down, he looked like Loch Ness size, but also looked like he had a lot of shipyards. And, you know what I mean? Just cheesy gold chains around the neck. I was like, man, who's this guy?
All right. Power goes out on Nitro. I think it's during Sting and Luger. Is it against the Road Warriors? It's a match. They're in the ring, and the power goes out, and Bischoff on air insinuates that WWF has something to do with it. And
it doesn't last long. It doesn't last long.
You know what Vince does?
Yeah.
He has Jerry McDevitt send Eric Bischoff a personal letter. My goodness. This feud must continue. It is going to happen throughout the entire year. So this will probably be one of our top stories on every episode is the update on what's going on with
this. Is 96. There's in 98, there's an actual pay-per-view challenge by Eric Bischoff.
Yes.